Hey everyone, we're here with Jeanette from Katie Mobile Studios, and we're so excited that you're here and we get to connect and talk about business and life. So, first of all, how'd you get into the business?
Oh my gosh. It's kind of funny because with my business, there's really two sides to it. There's the salon aspect, and then we have the whole hair and makeup bridal
Okay.
aspect. So I really started as a hairdresser.
Like cut color, whole
Yeah,
shebang.
yes and no. Like, so, started in the hair industry in the salon, and I focused on cutting and styling.
Okay.
No desire for color whatsoever.
Okay.
So that's
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you said, I was like, no.
I don't like
color.
the color either. It's not my thing. No.
Yeah.
So the styling is what grew my passion for bridal styling. And I was really working in a salon. And this guy was like, well, you're either on the cutting side or the color side. And I was like, well, I want to style. And he's like, that's cutting. I was like, done. And that is what
Sold,
solidified
yeah.
that. Yeah. And then I was in a salon for 4 years before I decided to start KMS, went on my own.
Okay.
And that was like really where it was like I sparked my passion with bridal styling, editorial, photo shoots, things like that. And
Okay.
I started that. And then kind of fast forwarding, I was really already outsourcing a lot of makeup artists. And it, as you know, it gets very complicated when they're having to be like coordinate with this company and this company.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I was like, why are we not just doing this in house?
Right.
And then same with color. I was just like sending all my clients to someone else for color. So it kind of just became this thing of like, I brought a colorist on. I brought on all these like makeup artists. I
Just
grew all
makes your
these-
life easier.
Yeah.
for sure.
And then that was just really kind of what grew me into like both industries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
So now, what do you primarily do? Do you do, I mean, how many weddings do you do versus how many like regulars do you have?
Like myself or the company.
Yeah. Oh, both, girl.
Yeah. Well, so I think so everyone kind of like knows it's like I'm definitely like in that point in my career because I've been doing this since after high school right away.
Yeah. Okay.
So over 10 years. Yeah. I was lucky enough to take cosmetology in high school.
Good.
So
Save you 20 grand, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my, literally like
It's crazy.
I
No,
tell
it's
people I'm
crazy.
like just take the cheapest route and get a license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm at that point to where it's like I love fueling others, having the business grow. So it's like
Yeah.
I focus more so in the salon.
Okay.
I personally don't do too many of the weddings anymore.
Gotcha.
But I think also like I got to this point where I get sensory overload.
Oh, girl. Yeah.
I know y'all can relate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
at that
just
point
like
right now, I'm like, okay, this music is really freaking loud.
Yes, like I'm the stylist and I've accepted it. I have RBF. I don't talk, but I will give you the most beautiful hair. Like I'm just focused.
Yeah.
And then just all this chaos and I'm like, I don't think this is the environment for me at
Yeah.
this point in my life
Yeah.
anymore.
Gotcha.
So we do a good amount of weddings, probably not as many as a company that's solely bridal.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But I tend to focus more so in the salon, and while I still do a lot of mobile work because of the name, that tends to be more of styling for, I'm in the suburbs, so people who do like the family photos, homecoming, prom,
Galas.
Yeah.
haircuts, yeah, things like that.
Gotcha. So, do you take all of your services mobile? Because I was looking at your Instagram and I was kind of going through. I was like, oh my gosh, I love the blue. I love how you did
I
things.
love that
Yeah.
you got that. The branding, yay!
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so is it just the bridal that you take mobile and like the services as far as, special event and whatnot? Or do you take all of your services mobile?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually do every single service mobile, excluding color.
Okay.
There was a time and place for that. We actually, during COVID, we took color mobile, and it worked out great. Like, we had a whole system. Like, I always joke, like, it wasn't the janky thing where you were just, like, flipping your head over in the sink washing.
Yeah.
Like, no, we have legitimate, like, equipment, and all services are in the house. It's not like a mobile van.
Okay.
But just as, like, we started growing, like, of course, you guys know being mobile, like, you can only take so many things because of the travel time.
Yes.
So many appointments.
Yeah, I really cut off the mobile color, and we still get asked to this day, but I'm like, we just don't have the capacity for it. But every other service, like the extensions, smoothing treatments, blowouts, cuts, men, women, children, everything can be booked mobile.
That's
Okay.
so cool.
Love
I
that.
didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So do you have to go, you don't have like like you said, you don't have a van or whatever. You just kind of take it to their in-home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you, like you said you grew your team. How many artists and stuff do you have on your team?
We have about 5 artists right now.
Okay.
I am very particular
Good.
about
As you
who.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like.
Yeah,
Small
that's
but
a
mighty.
good thing.
Small and mighty.
I really feel like a lot of the people in the industry can relate, but I'm sure we've all seen all aspects. And I'm kind of almost like, how much should I share? How much should I not? But like, as we know, people will contract or just be
Yeah.
like, who's available?
Yeah.
I definitely am not like, unless it was like absolute emergency.
Right.
I'm not just like, who can make this appointment? I'm
Yeah.
like, I've got my team of girls. That's who I send.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, I want to make sure the quality stays the same.
Yeah.
So I am very like aware of like what's happening. I want to see everyone's work after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
to maintain that.
Same.
You have to do that because it's like your brand. Like, you know, and then you know in advance if something has, you know, gone awry or
for
isn't
sure.
on point or
Yeah.
whatever. Because, you know, I grew a team and I've had people 6 months down the road contact me back and say, oh, I don't like my pictures. All of these things were horrible and it's all your
Ooh.
fault. I want everything back. Yeah.
Grudge.
I want the I want the
just broke.
trial back.
They're
I
just
want the tip that I gave her back. I want all of these back. Yeah, I'm like, okay,
The audacity.
time out. So at the time, I would have my artists, they always take before and after photos, okay? As soon as that person sits down in their chair,
Yeah.
and then as soon as that person is ready to get up, take a picture, right? Because the complaint is that she was like, okay, like I got my pictures back. Here are my pictures. My makeup's silver and blue. And I'm like, we don't even have that in our kits, but I don't know what happened there. So the after photo that the artist took did not reflect any silver, blue, whatever. I said, so something happened after that. And she's like, well, my sister-in-law, she tried to help. And I was like,
You're
said,
like, well, then
I'm sorry, that's not
tell
my
your sister to
problem."
pay for it.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, I'm sorry your sister ruined your photos. But it wasn't us, you know?
Yeah.
And then, but I had the before and after pictures. And I also had, we called them event reports. At the time. And so the artist was like, you know, bride was so happy. Like, just give me a synopsis of the event. If I'm not there to physically like see what happened or what went down or whatever, you have to do an event report. So that's what happened. She was like, you know, she was so happy. She gave me a hug. She gave me a tip and she's like all this. So I was like, okay. So when she called me 6 months later, I said, okay.
Well, here we have this.
So if you were so unhappy at the trial, why did you move forward in the contract? Okay. She's like, you're going to hear from my attorney, da, 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 da. And I was like, cool. Yeah, let him call me. And so then attorney calls me and I said, I'm going to actually send all of this over to you, you know, because we don't move into contract until the trial is completed. So if she was so unhappy,
That's
then
actually
why did
so
she
smart.
move into
Yeah.
contract, right? All right. So that happened. I said, here's the pictures from the trial. Here's the pictures from the event. This is the event report, da, 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 da. So I sent that all over. And then the assistant calls me back and they're like, yeah, we're not going to move forward. But it was to the tune of about $1,500
Crazy.
Yeah.
that she was wanting back. 6 months later, I'm like, okay, first of all, you can't pay your credit card, obviously, because that's called buyer's remorse, you know?
She's like, shit, what
She's
did
like,
I buy?
Yeah. So I was like, you know, hair and makeup, it's an easy target because it's all about
yeah.
how you feel. And then I had proof that we didn't put those things on her because as soon as she was done with the services,
Take pictures, sir.
took pictures, and then something in between that happened
Yeah.
because her pictures were boo-boo. That was like, yeah, they look really bad. And so I'm like, have to investigate, right?
What happened?
6 months ago, and the artist is like, I don't even remember, you know?
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
soon as they do the event, right after while they're in the car, they're just going to do a quick synopsis. And
I love that.
it is what it is because you never know. I tell her all the time, like 2 to 3%. 2 to 3% of people
I know, she was
are
telling me
certifiable nuts. And you don't know who
Yeah.
you don't know who holds the key.
Yes.
And the more you,
You
do,
don't.
the more you encounter. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
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 And that's about right. Because it's like, you know, if you do 10 people a year, you're not probably going to see crazy.
Any crazies.
Yeah.
But you do
100
100
to
to 200, you're
Yeah.
going to see a few, you know.
I
So,
love that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's very important to protect yourself and your
I
business.
feel like
For
we need
sure.
to like make a blueprint of like, okay, what is gonna happen?
Yeah.
When you start a business, what do you need to be prepared for? Because like there's no blueprint. You're just like, oh shoot, well that happened. So now how do we move forward and figure it out?
Yeah.
People just be going through it.
I
Yeah.
think that is such a great takeaway from, because I know like we have all different ranges of people who are listening, maybe like entrepreneur, coming bee, someone who
Yep.
already owns a business, someone
Absolutely.
who wants to find more work.
Yeah.
And my takeaway from that is like, I wish some of these artists would be a little more open-minded when working for someone.
Yeah.
Right.
This is quality control. Because I'm not going to lie, like,
Yeah.
we've all been there. I was like, I don't want no one touching my bridal parties.
Right.
Like, it was
Yeah.
hard hiring a team,
Yeah,
but
it
there's
is,
only
yeah.
one of us.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm very, like, exactly that, to where it's like, I say there's photos to where they get saved. We have client profiles. It's saved to see quality control. And then
Yeah.
there's social media photos.
Yeah, 100% different.
Yeah.
And I always say, I'm like, especially if a client's like, oh, don't share this. I love no, like, no one sees this.
Right.
This is for us to see, future reference. And it's very much so, it's like, I feel that some people, like, get very like, well, I don't do all that. I don't take photos. Why are your rules this? And it's like,
Well, then
if
go
you
somewhere else.
do want to work
Yeah.
for me,
Right.
I literally
This
need
is what's required.
and I think we've all learned every rule in life is made for a reason.
Right.
Well, someone's been unhappy and then the artist didn't take a photo. If
Yep.
you don't have that thing that I can like
Proof.
back you up on, I gotta go with the client because
Yeah.
I don't have the photo. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you
Right.
should have taken that photo.
Yeah.
And to your reason, you're like, well, I got the photo and we didn't give you 90 smoky eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't.
Something's not lining up here.
Yeah.
So, like, to these artists who are wanting to work for people, like, you know, just try to really respect the policies we put in
100%.
place. And it's
Yeah.
only to help you and back you up should something go wrong.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cross
Because
your
I
T's and dot
told
your eyes. Like it's not that hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I told my artist, I'm like, you know what? Like, I will go to bat for you. End of story. That's hands down how it's going to happen. But you have to do what you're supposed to do so that I can.
For sure.
Okay? I don't want you to fight these battles. That's my job. But please give me the tools so I can fight. Because if I can't, you know, I have to give back the money and then, you know, I'm at a loss. You
Yeah.
know? So it's so important. I've run into that too, where people, you know, that you hire out or whatever, they just like, oh, well, I don't take pictures. As like I'm
Well,
gonna
we
share
do,
it.
bitch.
Yeah. So you can tell the difference in the mentality from a freelance artist to a business owner who has run into things and is protecting their brand, protecting their company, protecting their artists. Like you just have to know when you go to, you know, work for somebody and they ask that of you, it's a big deal. And it actually speaks more to you because
Oh, yeah.
it's protecting you. Like, come
I
on
wish
now.
they really saw these like things as like more credibility to the company,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm finding out like as I decide to like add a new
Yep.
artist, there's been a lot of burn in this industry, and you see it on
Yeah.
like the Facebook groups,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because when I try to, you know, bring someone on like the way we do it legitimately, like
And they're like, why you got all these policies? And you're like, well,
yeah, it's like we have like paperwork. It's
Yeah.
like we have
like
payroll.
I have a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
people are like, I want to be paid when I leave. And I was like, I totally respect and get it. But I was like, we go through a payroll company. Like, no one's just giving cash on the spot.
Yeah, this is legit. Like,
But
yeah.
it's because they've been burned. But I'm like,
I
if
get it.
you're a company's inquiring and they're like, have all these policies, like, I wish they'd be like, oh, like, maybe this is more legit than just Susie who's like, can
Here,
you
I'll
go to
give you
this
50
job and
bucks.
just let me know when you're done?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
let's pick and choose who we work for.
Right.
Well, and I think that because I've run into this scenario recently.
Oh, gosh.
And
Yeah.
like very recently, and I'm like, this is how I do business. This is how we do things. There's a contract in place. You signed a contract. We've worked together before. Like, you know what the rules are. And she's like, well, I've just been burned by other people. And I was like, I'm not other people.
Yes.
I'm not
It's
other people.
hurtful, kind of.
I stand on business. I have
Yeah.
always stood on business. I will always pay you. I will always make sure you get your tips. I'm always going to do the right thing, even if I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Like, I've had instances where the bride didn't pay me, but I still paid my team out because that was our agreement.
Yeah.
What the client and me do has nothing to do with me and the artist.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if people would understand that when you are about your business, you're not going to get burned. And when you have those policies in place, like, that's not a red flag. It's a green flag. It's totally a green flag. Like,
yeah, you should be
look,
excited that
she's
this
organized.
Is how it's going to go down. It's
And
not just
sure.
shoot from the hip type
and
thing.
signing a contract, like anybody that ever works for me, whether they're on my team or they're like, I call them a guest artist, I make them sign a contract. I'm like, this is not just for me, it's for you.
Yeah.
We are on the same page, and this is binding, legally binding, because we both signed it, and that means you're going to get paid regardless by whatever's outlined in this. And they're like, well, this is just a lot. I'm like, okay, well, then work somewhere else. Like,
Yeah.
I used to get so offended, and I would like break rules and like do things.
Girl, it's not worth it.
No, it's like, you're the biggest pain in my ass.
Yeah.
You are the biggest pain in my ass.
No.
And at the end of the day, do you want to work or do you not want to work?
Yeah.
Do you want the income or do you not want the income? You
And
know?
it's usually the people with like a big head that like think that they're better than everyone, but I'm like, well, why are you working for me if
yeah.
Stop.
make it make sense?
Because they need the money.
Right. So I'm
And
like,
that's
well,
okay. We have, like, we're all for that. But, like, stop acting like you're above everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll come work for you if I don't got no work to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna treat your
absolutely.
clients like they were mine.
Yep.
If not better, because I don't have the stress of like managing the day. I'm gonna do some bomb ass hair.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna look good, and I'm gonna leave. Like, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's the difference between artists, because I remember being an artist like that, and I remember being like, wow, God, I remember being there, but
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know, and until you get
Yeah.
to this point. But some
Yeah.
people are just artists and will never get to business owner status, so they won't understand this. And I feel like that's the hardest part about being a beauty business owner is merging that mindset with the other and helping these people get to here. But a lot of them don't even want to get there.
So hard.
But I'm
yeah.
like, how do you teach this to somebody that's over here and have them respect you at the same time?
I feel like you just have to like call it as you see it,
Yeah.
see it where they're at or whatever, and just try to meet them on their level to a degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
do y'all vividly remember being that artist? That was
I don't
like-
think I ever was. I mean, honestly.
No, I was.
can't relate.
Yeah. I mean,
I was big headed, and I was like, well, they are asking me for help, you know, like
Yeah,
I
I know.
genuinely thought that there was like maybe 5 or 6 months, and that was it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I am not who I think I am. Pump the brakes.
yeah, reality check.
Humbled. I got real humbled real quick.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, I mean, I remember having those thoughts like, well, I deserve more and I deserve this. And then I realized, oh no, like there's all this other stuff that they're doing for you. And that's why you get paid this rate.
Yeah.
And I just get to show up and have no stress.
Yeah.
That's
it's
the
just
trade-off. Yeah. You show up to your job, go home, and you don't deal with the behind the scenes.
Right.
different.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Which is a lot.
So what do you look for in an artist to actually
question.
join your team?
Yeah. So typically I'll do a trial where they come in studio
Okay.
and they'll perform the service or services they offer. So some of them do hair and or makeup.
Nice.
And what I look for, one, I'm eyeing their kit.
Yup. Yeah.
That's
the
so
first
good.
thing. That is
To
the first
see.
thing.
Yeah.
Clean your kits.
Oh my
That's all I'm saying.
Listen.
I literally never go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen, okay, it is just blown up. I could go down like rabbit holes, but I'll stay on topic.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'm eyeing the kit, and like my biggest thing, and like I mean, I've had artists or even stylists who've worked for me, and it hasn't worked out, and like sometimes I'm like, well, what did I do wrong? I am gonna stick to that. People don't have the same vision as me.
Yeah.
Right.
I thrive off feedback. One, because like whenever I go to towns or countries, I go to salons, I go to spas.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know what I'm looking for, and like I've done it like for research or for fun.
Yeah.
Both.
Even
Yeah.
in Houston, I've been
Yeah.
to so many spas, so it's like I know what's great customer service, and what I'm like, I will never do that, and make sure no one on my team does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like when I'm looking in a kit, it's like I've seen so many times which a client should never do. They're literally digging in their kit, and I'm like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, they see what's
That's
in your kit.
embarrassing.
And it's not to say like you can't have drugstore, because we've seen celebrity makeup artists use
Yeah.
drugstore, but it's like, do you have a legitimate bill kit? Because they will look in it, and I do think it has to be a mix of
I mean, they're
professional
sitting there for an
and
hour
drugstore.
staring. Yeah.
Yes, because I had one time this lady was like, oh my God, she only had like I don't remember the brands, like hairspray, and she was very turned off of like, it wasn't someone on my team, but like the fact that this person only had like drugstore hair products, like people kind of care about that, especially when you are putting your services at a certain rate.
Yeah.
They are expecting a little bit more. So when they come in, and then I'm like, the kit is like dirty, not sanitized, brushes. And what blows my mind, I'm like, you knew you were coming to an interview?
Yeah.
That
I'm
kills
like, and
me.
yet you made the decision to come in with this messy, dirty kit.
Yeah.
But then I also look for, the quality of their work.
Sure.
And then like very specific looks, the ones that I know like will be asked for most, I have them do that. And what I also look for is, I don't know why everybody wants to lie about how long they take. I don't care. I literally don't care. I'm like, let me know if you're 30, 45, 60, 75 minutes so I'm aware.
Yeah, and you know how to schedule.
Everyone wants to, I don't know if this is you. I literally mean everyone wants to say I can do this, and they show up and will do 30 to 45 minutes longer, and I'm like, I do give them leeway. I'm like, they can
They're
be
nervous. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
but I'm just like, that's a huge difference from what you just told me, and now I'm concerned if you can actually achieve these windows you told me you can do.
Yes. Yeah.
So like those are things I look for like in the interview process, and just like how do they kind of interact with the client? Like, do you give thorough consultations, or are you just like, cool photo, let's do it? I'm like, that wasn't really interacting with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or building trust before you put your hands on someone's face. Like that's
Yeah.
hair's a different story. When you're doing makeup though, like you have to build that trust a little bit. Like with your kit, how you look,
For sure.
how you speak, and then what questions you're asking. Like all of that is building trust at this, like before you even start touching their face.
Especially because when you think about it, imagine if you're getting a service blindly with no mirror.
God,
And
could
you're
you
like,
imagine?
I don't even like.
I don't know
guess
what I
I'll
look
see
like.
it when I'm done. And
Yeah.
like, God forbid they hate it.
Yeah.
No, that happens.
Yeah.
We had the wedding we did together at Town Hall this past whenever that was.
Yeah.
Within
was
the
last week,
month.
I think.
So one of the she was the first lady to go, and she was really sweet, and she liked it, so she said. But then she was crying as I was like packing up. Super pregnant, super hormonal.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
true.
like,
Okay, she was
okay,
hormonal.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that counts.
There's a lot of emotions, and I don't think it's about the makeup, but we're gonna, So I'm like, and it was only the lashes. The only thing she didn't like was the lashes were just too much, and I was like, well, that's a really easy fix.
Yeah.
And so the mom came over, and she's like, hey, she like really hates her lashes. Can you take them off? And I was like, yeah, no problem. Like, no big deal. Like,
Yeah.
And she was just like so embarrassed. She wouldn't even look at me when I tried to take her lashes off, and I was like, it's okay. You can tell me you don't like it. And I
Yeah.
can fix it. And it was just so awkward. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
But
And then she's like, I feel better. And then she's still crying. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, it was so awkward. And I'm like, sometimes you just.
well, you do everything you
Serious.
can, and then
Yeah.
if they have to
Yeah.
verbalize what they want.
I felt
But
bad.
some people just really won't. They really won't say.
Well, and the
Hey.
artist was even like really nice and like really
Yeah, she
inviting.
was.
Did a thorough consult. Like, she's not one of those that was like, good luck, bye. You know?
I've kind of learned it's you have to really realize it's a personality. Like if someone
Yeah.
hasn't spoken up their whole life, because we thrive on like, oh my god, like we want to fix it. Like
Yes.
let us
But
know.
sometimes they literally just cannot. Like, she just couldn't.
I
She
mean,
just
like-
cried and was like trying to pull him off herself. I'm like, 2 months and help.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
You just learn in the beauty industry. People
Yeah.
are like, at least salons, they're like, I just went to a new salon. I was like, they would have like fixed that for free. And they're like, no, that would have been so awkward.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just went somewhere else. I was
You're
like,
like,
what?
Like, my neighbor, that same thing happened to her. And I'm like, they like burned her scalp a little bit. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
because I knew the salon. And I was like, no, ma'am, I'm going to call them for you.
Yeah.
And she was like, please don't. And I was like, I'm going to shoot a text. Don't worry. And she was like, don't do it. And I was like, I already sent it. Sorry. And she was
Girl.
like, thank you so much for telling them. I was like, yeah. So she went back in. They did a treatment and fixed her hair. And it was like no problem. But she was like mortified. And I'm like, girl, it's just hair.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They're not going to hate you.
and people, I want that feedback. Like,
But like
if-
some people just can't do it.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, well, whatever. So,
I know, that's
but
fine.
as an artist, though, you have to know that some people are like that, and so if they give you the slightest little micro facial expression that they hate it,
Well, that's what I was
pick
going to
up on
say.
that. Like,
I mean, we really learn, especially over the years, how to read people.
Yeah.
And if they don't verbalize it, and they're like, oh yeah, it's fine.
you
You're
can
like,
see it in their
no."
eyes
Yeah.
and like the corners of their mouth. Like, there's like little things. And I teach my team this. I'm like, look, in the consultation and then after, I feel like that's something that you just learn along the way with experience and getting comfortable with doing hair and makeup. But that's an important part of like hiring artists is like, can you pick up on that? And do you care enough to like make that change?
The care.
And you can tell that in an interview sometimes, like people's demeanor or personality or whatever. So
So when growing your team, how do you team build and keep your team? What is the best? As far you can get them in, but to keep them, that's another thing.
You know, it's funny when I started this salon, like when I got my actual brick and mortar.
Gotcha.
Literally, all I ever wanted was to have God, what is the word? I always forget it. Not morale, but culture.
Culture.
Yeah.
Culture,
All I ever wanted
that
was
is?
culture. And like literally we would have like meetings. I would even do like social gatherings. And it was almost more inconvenient for everyone. And like I see both sides. And I was like, okay, like clearly no one's appreciating this. Like no one cares for this. So I kind of just put that out the window completely, like truthfully.
The girls same. Like I just was like, we're done with this.
But I do want to make sure everyone knows each other, especially because like I always say, like we have our bridal team and the salon team. They don't always see each other. Or like even the bridal team, like they mix and match appointments. So that's why I like to stick to the same people because you know sometimes like when you've got like a random mojo, like it's awkward working around like hair and makeup and like it's like, oh, can I step in? Or I've had people like, oh, wait till she's done, and I'm like, you don't have time to like you need to be working at the same time. So it's like I make sure that everyone knows each other, and then as far as like what I can do is like I always just try to make the girls feel appreciated, like small little appreciation, like gift cards or coffee or like holiday gifts, like things like that. So they definitely feel like valued and like, you know, appreciated part of the team since we don't do like team gatherings.
That's awesome.
Do something around like the holidays at all or not really?
No, so I have found, and I feel like even if you ask like corporate people now, like people don't want to gather. I think they truthfully rather appreciate a gift.
Money.
Like honestly, people are like everyone's schedules are so busy, and I kind of had to ask people, and someone put it in good perspective, and they're like, the thing is, like, no one has room in their schedule, and like people want to get away from work. It's not necessarily the people. I mean, corporate's different. You're like, I don't like you. But like, in this industry, we're hanging out, but it does still have a work vibe to it because of just like the people and like, so your mind is just there. So I think people would just rather, you know, like I've sent my team to like a spa before, or it's like I've straight up asked them. I'm like, I ask them each year, I'm like, do you want an experience? Do you want money? Or do you want a gift? And I'm like, why don't we just listen to what they want and stop giving them something they literally don't, like, no one wants a dinner anymore. No one wants a gathering.
That's true.
It's like so true. And then you like get butthurt because no one wants to come, and you're like, well, I'm trying to do something nice for you.
They don't have room for it. There's so many holiday events, so it's like, just give the people what they want.
And
do you like straight up ask them, or like do surveys, or like
I straight up ask like each one of them, and then like it'll go based on majority of, you know, what they, so that was how I chose the spa one year. They all were like, I'd rather do a spa, so it was like, cool, spa day, let's go.
That's awesome.
That's fun.
That's good that you take that into account too. You know, like some people just don't ask the question, you know.
Is there things that you like look for that you're like, I'll never ever hire someone like that again?
The biggest red flag for me is if someone doesn't sign my contract or agreement. And what's so funny, it's like, it's not a contract. This is agreement that are KMS policies that I expect you to abide by. Like, you're not locked in with me.
Like it's not like
years,
a non-compete or like
down. It's literally
like, did you read it? Did you read it?
And I've had people be like, I'm gonna have my attorney look. I was like, okay, like an attorney drafted this, please. Like, like I just like typed this up on Word document one day. I swear to God, anyone, and I've learned my lesson, anyone who does not sign that is the biggest red flag. And like you, I've made exceptions, I've bent rules, and they're the ones who have
the problems,
done me wrong in my business. And I'm just like, if someone doesn't sign this, it's a red flag. And so that is the biggest thing, like, to where I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I was like, there's probably a reason, and you're probably shady.
You're very shady. Because
somebody on the up and up is that they see the value in it, and just
yeah, and
do
like
the
the
thing.
thing is, I'm like you. It's like to protect them and myself, and it's like literally, it's just like saying like your pay, what I expect in your kit,
That's it.
what I expect
Yeah.
you to wear.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm
what
like,
not to do.
yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
I don't have time to sue you. You think I'm going to deal with that?
No way! It's going to cost me more to sue you than it is to
move on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you dealt with that? Like when
Yes.
finding team members?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what do you feel like was like your biggest red flag or drawback to where you're just like, this just isn't a good fit?
Yeah, well, that's probably that.
Kickback on policies is
Yeah.
the biggest,
That's the main thing.
like
is
messing
that
up
they're
for
asking.
me.
I mean,
Yeah.
they can ask all the questions, but for clarification, but if they come up at like, well, why do you do this, or that doesn't make sense, or they
Yeah.
like downplay what you're like, actually that's there for a reason, to again, to protect you, protect the brand, to
Yeah.
protect the business and the client, because there's a quality that has to be maintained, you know.
For sure.
So that, but also another thing is if someone comes in and, you know, like you said, this industry is very small.
It
Yeah.
really,
So
really
if they
is.
come in and talk mess about somebody else, it is an immediate thank you. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Best way to put that.
Because you know, like they're obviously, they don't mind talking crap, and they're gonna, if something goes not according to how they view it.
Oh, yeah.
It's I'm no. Sorry, I don't do the gossip thing. So if they come in with that, that's like a huge red flag. And the
Yeah.
other one is, I'll work for you for free.
What?
What do you mean?
Yeah, they've said that.
Like
before.
I'm gonna come be like, I'll work for you, but don't pay me.
Yeah, I'll work for you. I just want to learn everything
Oh, they're
that
trying
you
to
know.
Oh.
Yeah.
First off, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing they're trying to do is suck every piece of information of how you do things. Out of your business.
Exactly.
You're like, no,
yeah,
I'm good.
I'll do whatever you want. I'll come work for
How
free.
often has this happened?
Yeah, several times.
You're lying.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm glad I've never had that approach.
Yeah.
Well, because you're really about your business, though, and people
Yeah.
see that and they know that.
Yeah.
I've
So
had people tell me that, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
If they're like,
Well, I just-
I'll come, can I just assist you?
yeah.
But is this someone like totally new to where it's
Yeah,
like they just
totally
want
new.
a mentor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't even trust it?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, wow.
It's
Because
always
I'm
turned
going
out terribly.
I'm going to pay you regardless.
Yeah.
Because that's number one, it's illegal. Number two, like,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you for your time and your effort and your work. And that time I was providing like training too. And I always provide training for my team just to
Yeah.
make sure we're all on the same page and whatnot. But
That's good. Yeah. That's my next question.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you handle that?
so, but if they come in and they're like, oh no, don't pay me. I'm like, okay, what are your intentions?
Right, like, what are you trying to get out of me?
Because if
That's
you're coming,
crazy.
if you're coming with that intention, that means you're gonna either try to siphon my team, which that's happened before, or you're gonna try and siphon my clients, get into my client list and all of that, and just undermine. So just keep everything on the up and up. I appreciate when someone's like, I need to make this much, or if they. I definitely have a plan. So if they're just getting started, okay, there's a growth
System.
plan in
Yeah.
place for sure.
I love
Because
that.
I don't want anybody to ever get stuck here. And I'm not going to waste my time with somebody who's just okay being here,
Yeah.
you know? So, but yeah, that's kind of a red flag. I want people to grow and also be honest about what your intentions are. If you're wanting to be in your own business and you're wanting
That's
to
my number
learn,
one question.
let's plan for that.
Yes.
Let's plan for it. And don't be like sneaky about it, because I already see you. I already know.
I will say, so when she helped coach me through, like, when I was first starting building a team, I had no fucking clue what I was doing. Let's be honest. And like, we restructured a whole bunch of stuff, and it pissed people off, and I'm like, okay. And I learned a whole bunch from that. But long story short is, I used to be like, hey, you can't really go work for other teams because I'm training you. And
Yeah.
you're not paying me, and I'm not charging you. Like we're not.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for free, and I was getting so burnt out teaching and training all these people. And then the second they got trained and they got good enough, and they felt like they were good enough to go do it on their own, they left. And I was like, you mother, like,
Yeah.
You
so
take it
frustrating.
personally,
Like,
yeah.
I took it so personally because I'm like, I just spent so much time and energy on you. And they're like, well, I don't care. Like, they didn't. So now that I'm open and honest, and I'm like, hey, what are your goals? Do you want to have your own team? And like 90% of them are like, yeah. And then when they realize how much work it is, they're like,
Right.
just kidding.
Yeah.
So but now that I'm more honest and open with my team and they're more honest and open with me, like, I know they go work for other companies. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, I can't keep them busy enough to pay all, in this economy.
Oh, for sure.
They have bills to pay. Okay, I'm not mad about it. Take your own clients, go work for other people, but
Yeah.
show up when you say you're going to show up. I'm like, then we're fine. And so they're so much more open about what it is that they're doing and where they're going, and we have like an exit plan. So if they're like, hey, like in a year I want to quit working for you and I want to have my own team and I want to do this, I'm like, perfect, thank you for letting me know, so we can like phase you out and I can have someone else take over all your appointments.
Yeah.
So it's like, now we can game plan together, and I'm not just like stuck like, oh shit, what do I do, because you just left me
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
didn't give me a heads up. So the more honest and open that communication line is, like, everything is just so much smoother.
And if
now
you start,
I'm like,
if you
"Ah."
start from the beginning like that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
there's
before
no
I was, like,
weirdness. I feel
afraid.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
But how about you? What do you do as far as, is there, if somebody wants to leave or whatever, do you have an
Yeah.
exit plan or a promotion strategy or?
I honestly think like honesty is the best policy, and it's like I've learned, and I guess people just forgot this saying. I'm like, don't burn the bridge. It doesn't mean
yeah.
you're gonna come work for me again.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for people who have like, whether it's like worked for me for years or like a month, and they're like, this just isn't a good fit,
Yeah.
or like, hey, I'm gonna
not
go
happy.
here now. I'm like, oh my god, like I wish you all the best. Let me know if you need anything. And at least for me, it's like I have respect. I will always speak highly of you. But when you screw me over, I'm just like, literally like. Yeah, it's like I have stylists say like, oh, my dream one day is to like open my own suite. I'm like, oh my god, okay, well, what can we do in the meantime? Like, I'm gonna
prepare you for
enjoy
that.
you while you're here. I'm gonna let you know what it's like to work on your own.
Yeah.
And like even like I say with the bridal team, because like I contract them, so of course they do other jobs because it's like I don't know that anyone could really truly work for one company and make ends meet if you were single.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
There's no way.
Yeah. With them, it's like, yeah, you can work wherever. I don't really care. So I don't think there's really an exit strategy with that. But I have had people, screw me over, and I'm just like, okay, we're done here.
What does screwing you over look like?
She's like, you don't have to say names. You're like,
No names.
No, I know that.
specific scenarios.
but
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, it was like, and this was one artist who gave me the longest time for signing the agreement, and then kept trying to negotiate pay, and like what she was asking for was just like absolutely outrageous. And what
very common, actually.
I'm just like, you guys, like, you don't get it, and like, you never will till you run a business.
Yep.
Like, and I can tell you right now, everyone thinks we are profiting and
No.
pocketing that commission, and I'm like, first of all, I can be different than other companies in the sense that I have a brick and mortar. Like, who do you think is paying for that when you come do hair and makeup in the salon?
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
like everything, like when we have like a receptionist, coordinator, like marketing, just everything, it's like the bills just keep stacking, and it's like they literally think like you're just like, oh, I'm going on vacay with the money I got from you for doing that bridal team. It's like, no. So what she was asking for was just like outrageous, and I was just like, there is absolutely no way. And I was like, literally, like, the business would like probably go down if I was paying every artist this.
Yeah.
And then so I think the final straw for me was I found out that she used my studio, my salon, without my permission, which I just
hell no.
Yeah.
girl, I could not believe. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, someone was like, oh, she was in yesterday. And I was like, what do you mean she was in? They were like, she had a I don't know if it was a trial or something. I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like out of town. And this
The
woman,
audacity.
she was older. She knew. And like, the biggest thing about me, people treat me like I'm stupid because of my age.
Oh.
I'm 30. I started this business in 2017. So it's like everyone's always just been like, she's young. She doesn't know. And like when I'm dealing with someone who's like 40, almost 40, it's like, I know you know.
Yes.
And then she would switch like a client from like, in salon, and she was like, come to my house. I'm like, that's a huge no-no. Like, you should have never even been in contact with that client because everything goes through office.
Right.
And I was like, we're done here.
Yeah.
And then another girl who was like actually like employed was my manager, basically copied my entire business model. Yeah, loved
Yeah.
that. Like, if you looked at her website, she didn't even
Lovely.
have her own portfolio photo. She had to screenshot her Instagram photos.
Oh my gosh. I've had one or
Oh.
two actually do that too.
Girl, like
Yeah.
policy word for word, deposit amount word for word. And I was like, this is really cute. Like, that you couldn't come up with your own idea.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I trained you so well.
Dang it,
Yeah.
business.
You know, like
Yeah.
took our clientele, took our photographers, and I was just like, that was the biggest burn of all. And I'm just like, you one shady mofo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is
Yeah.
like people quickly realize that they're not you,
Yeah.
and then they move on.
Yeah.
So it may look pretty for a little bit. You can hold it together for just a little bit, and then it's like pff, it implodes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, we're all human. Like,
Yeah.
every time someone takes your client, it's like, because it's like you've worked for that clientele. It's like you've done like your marketing, you've grown this.
Yeah.
Like, it hurts.
Yeah.
But I realize at the end of the day, like, every time something's happened, it's like, we're like, my business is still doing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still growing. I'll survive. We get new business, new clientele, and I'm like,
Yeah.
clearly you out there struggling because I see you trying to do everything out there for business. So.
Yeah, but I think
How do you?
people see that, and like she said, it's just it only lasts for a minute.
Yeah.
Because again, they don't have the skills that you have,
Or the
that you
structure
acquired.
built behind the business to
Yeah.
like manage it and run it successfully. Like you. That's
Yeah,
it's
it's a
lot.
short it's a
Yeah.
short stint because
Yeah.
they don't know how to put in the work, the background stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And that's
especially
why-
if they're taking somebody else's.
Oh,
So
for
how do
sure.
you manage doing both? Because I kind of do both now. Like I do the spa. I don't know if you know that, but like
I didn't.
yeah, I know. I don't really. So I keep it separate because when I was merging it all on Instagram, people were very confused. They're like, "What
sure.
are you doing?" And I'm like, "Got it. We're not going to talk about this here." So I have like a whole separate spa. Like I have a brick and mortar.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah.
Are you an esthetician or you just run the spa?
No, I do the services.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So, and I love how chill it is. So, as you get burnt out with weddings, I'm taking a step. Anyways, long story short, that's not about me. I do both, and I'm trying to take less weddings personally, but still manage and run the team because I've done the work,
Yeah.
right? And I have the clientele and I have the business, but I don't want to personally be gone every freaking weekend doing weddings
Yeah.
anymore. So, I'm slowly transitioning away from that and being more of a manager side of it, and eventually, not only take like maybe 10 brides a year. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm having a hard time like making sure quality control. I mean, my girls are great, but like as I bring on new people, managing that side of it, but also doing the spa and running basically both
Oh,
businesses.
so you
at the
will
same
literally
time.
be in my shoes.
Yeah, like I've been doing it. No, I've
Yeah.
had this for 3 years, so it's not like new, but I feel like we're about to level
you're
up.
trying to step
is
back.
yeah, the
Yeah.
transition is new.
The transition is like different, and so I'm like, okay, how do I keep the quality control the same and keep the girls happy and around and do all that
Yeah.
like the same level that I've been doing without physically having to be there. I'm like, how do you?
It's just taking that leap of faith and like
Yeah.
trust, because
Trusting.
trust me, it went from like I've got to do everyone to where it's like, okay, people are here.
Y'all got this?
Well,
yeah.
it started to where it's like, you prep, give them to me still. And
Yeah.
then it was like, okay, I'll do X amount, you do X amount. Okay, I'm only doing the bride. Okay, I'm not even going to be here.
Yeah, it's kind of like and that's where I'm
Yeah.
at now, and it's really nice actually. It was stressful. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna mess it up, and people are gonna be
Oh,
unhappy. And
For sure. But you have
No.
to just trust, and you already have the team so you can trust them.
yeah,
And what I have to tell myself at the end of the day, I'm like, I still have to like, confide in other people. And I tell myself, I'm
Yeah.
like, were they happy? Yes.
was it me? No.
That mattered.
Yeah.
They were happy.
That's all
They
that
were
matters.
satisfied, thrilled, whatever. They
Yeah.
liked their service.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters. So even if you're like, well, I could have done that differently, they were happy.
Yeah, at
I
the end
deal
of
with
the
that a
day.
lot, and then that's like, and I don't want to ever make people feel bad about what they did,
Yeah.
or how they did it, because it wasn't my way. I mean, my way is not the only way. We're artists; you can do it
For
any way you
sure.
want. But it's
That's
like,
true.
you wanting more for people, but the clients are happy. That's all that matters.
At the end of the day,
So you're like-
at that point, even if they didn't do it how you would have done it or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
is it necessary? Do you start like critiquing how they did things,
Yeah.
or is it just like, thank God,
Yeah.
everybody's happy, move
Yeah.
on? Like how much time and energy do you put into
Great question.
correcting
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, at this
Or
point,
growing it.
this point, I only correct if someone was unhappy or if
Mm.
I saw something went wrong. Other than that, I don't say anything because I do think at the end of the day, someone can only take so much correction to where they're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like,
Yeah.
what now?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
real. And that's how you lose your team.
Yeah. Because I do get, I think what I was saying earlier about the spas, it's like I thrive on feedback from people. And it's like I will literally ask people, not only people like in the chairs, people like just out and about, be like, what do you look for? Like, why did you switch salons? And I know for a fact people don't dig for that feedback the way I do, and that's how I base things off of. It's like, we need to do it this way because someone said this, they hated this experience, or like this person noticed you were rushing on them. I was like, I get it, we have places to be, especially you know when you're going when, but I was like, don't ever portray to the client you were in a rush. I was
That's
like,
the worst
they
feeling.
can feel that, and it's not so like that's the feedback I'll give. It's not like, what is up with the smoky eye here? You know?
Yeah.
Start picking up
Like, unless it looks
service,
really janky, which it doesn't, or I wouldn't be sending them there.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But I think you have to just really be able to step back and trust that. And at the end of the day, ask yourself, like, what is going to make me happy? Which it sounds like you're really thriving and enjoying the environment in your spa.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean, both. But yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do both. There's no way.
There's only one of you.
Yes.
You know? So...
Yeah.
If that allows you more time there, then step back. And if you realize, like, I want to take a break from this and do bridal,
You can just flip flop. Yeah.
Yeah. I've really tried to. We've all been in this hustle and grind. Like,
I know it.
I'm over it.
Rest and relax.
Well,
Operating from a place of rest is such a bigger flex than the grind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, the grind is old news. Nobody cares if you're hustling and bustling.
Yeah.
Like, it used to look cool.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, we've all been there. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm flying here and there. And I was just like...
That sounds stressful.
I'm like,
And a heart attack.
it looks cool, but I'm exhausted. So it's like, I stopped trying to portray this lifestyle that I'm just hustling and I'm working. And it's like, for what? It's
Were
like...
you traveling a lot?
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of travel. I mean, like, locally, but not, like...
Well, I work for
statewide.
other companies as well.
Oh, cool.
But like way back in my career, when I was assisting this stylist in New York, I was, you know, flying there a lot. And like, yeah, it was like, I had fun. I learned so much from him, but he wanted me to move there. And I flat out told him, I was like, I will come here. But I was like, this is not for me to be here.
Yeah.
And then I even was at points where it's like, people think it's exciting to be on a plane going somewhere. I'm like,
It's not.
gets old.
And it dries your skin out.
And then you look at all dry.
Get that facial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was
Get
at a point in
exfoliated,
my
girl.
career where I was doing that a lot too. I would train. I was actually a trainer for a company, and so they had me flying all over just
So
to
you
do.
know.
Yes, yeah. And I was like, man, I'm so tired, but I love the people. I love teaching. I love all of it. But yeah, it's the dry skin is what I was like. Oh no, I can't do this.
Put it over.
Yeah, she's like, I look correct. It was a no for me.
You either start expensing my facials
Right.
or I'm out.
Okay,
Exactly.
speaking of that, I'm actually going to go teach a waxing class to my new girl, so I'm going to head out.
Okay, all right.
Y'all enjoy the rest of it.
This was fun.
Hustle, bustle, talking about it. I'm like, damn it, that's me.
I know, literally.
Today. Actually, I'm going on vacation, so like literally
Good for
right
you.
after that. So, and then I'm going on a week-long cruise. So this week has just been getting all the things ready
Yeah.
to leave. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, I have like 5,000 emails. It's gonna be fine.
It's all
My
good.
VA works tomorrow, so she'll take
all
care of all of
balance.
it. It's
Right.
fine.
Okay.
this was
Enjoy.
fun. Bye, girl.
Bye.
Sorry,
So I'm curious, where are you at in your career right now?
Yeah. So I have a team, and I have my core team, and then I also have people who come in, like the freelancers and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I really am focusing. So with my business, it is Exquisite Reflections. We were doing over 200 events a year.
Oh my God,
It was a
it's
lot.
amazing.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I love every minute of it. I love the people. I used to be a nurse too, so I love people.
Wow.
But we decided to kind of shift and focus. I took the training program out of my business because I would train artists to come in. They go through my program. At the end of it, they became a makeup artist or a hairstylist or whatever. And that's where I was like, tell me real for real what your intentions
Yeah.
are, because if you're going to just want to be an artist at the end of it, great. Okay. I will, put everything into your artistry. If you're wanting to be a business owner, great. Tell me that so that I can condition you to be and have the mindset of an entrepreneur, because that just doesn't happen. Right. So, through my program, I've started multiple other companies with my artists that have, progressed through, which I love that aspect. So being, having the contractors and stuff like that, not having employees, I had to take the education part of it and put it into Lux Training Company. So the artists actually go through my training program, which is Lux Training Company. And then they get their certifications and whatnot through there. And that's also a mentorship program. But we are going to, in the next year, be expanding that.
Wow.
So I'm really excited. So to answer your question, going from doing the work, having the team, to kind of me shifting and not necessarily doing all of the work and all of the brides, but taking those clients, and anybody who goes through Lux Training Company, they get those clients.
I love
so
that.
I'm not necessarily doing the work.
Yeah.
But I am focusing more on the mentoring and the training, and, so that people, after COVID, we saw so many people that were at home decide that, oh, I'm going to be a makeup artist. And it flooded the industry. And then you had all these people who were doing $30 faces, and
Oh, I know. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, okay, so then we lost business because of that. Well, then that didn't last very long because they don't know what they're doing, right? There's two sides to it, right? There's the artistry part, and then there's the business part. So a lot of them flopped and failed, which hurts my heart a little bit, because I love it when people dream and they look outside of their whole situation and they figure out that they have options. That's really what I want to teach and train people, is that you got options. Okay. Now, if you do it the correct way, then you can make it a whole career. I was a single mom for 7 years and had my babies and did my work on the weekends, and just, I was able to keep our head above water and all of that just by working on the weekends.
I love that.
Yeah. So you can make a 6-figure business if it's done well and you don't burn the bridges.
Yeah.
Right. That's the key. You can't do it alone. Right. So, really just focusing on that and making connections and, helping people get insight. That's really where we're kind of shifting and going into. This is always going to be here. The Exquisite's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Because it's been there for 20 years. So we have some longevity, but I'm into more of the mentorship part of it. Yeah.
I love that so much. That's really cool to hear, like, your story from yourself firsthand.
Yeah. It's been a long road, but I'm so grateful and thankful for every step of it, every growing pain, every moment to where I'm like, meh, I don't know what I'm doing,
Oh, yeah.
And if that can help somebody along the way, great, so.
It's very interesting, like, what you're saying, working on the business rather than in it.
Yes.
Is a completely different ballpark of being a business owner.
Oh, yeah. And it's a whole different mindset. You have to look at things, and project and all of these things. It's completely different from actually just doing the work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love that aspect of it. I love people who are visionaries and they can see, like, oh, this is actually possible. When that little light bulb, it comes on for them, I'm like, yay, you've got the light bulb. Now we can really get down to business.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
And, it's funny, you were saying that about, I didn't know there was such an influx of, let's say, like, hair and makeup from COVID. There was in the hair industry with stylists, cosmetologists.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was the same for that, which is interesting because there's someone who, she's really always been kind of like where I've learned everything. Her name is Britt Siva.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you know her.
Yeah,
I'm like, if y'all know her, look her up.
Uh-huh.
I've done years of her courses, invested so much, and like that, I really attest to like how I've been able to grow so much.
Yes.
And she was saying like we had the biggest influx like since COVID of, you know, people trying to become hairdressers, and now they're slowly exiting.
Yeah.
And I think, I hate to say it, but it's everyone who just, they kept hearing like, you can be a six-figure stylist, and everyone's like, oh my God, awesome. We're in this phase now where no one wants to mentor or assist in a salon. They just go straight from, got my license, let me go to a suite. And I'm
Yes.
like, I get it, but I'm like, you also don't know that much quite yet.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to deem themselves a business owner. And I'm like, I think there's a difference with like a business owner versus it's like you're just a stylist in a suite.
Yeah.
And like, I know some people will get offended by that. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you know who you are, you know if you're like a legitimate business owner, the way you run things versus just like, I'm my own boss.
Yeah.
I have a
I'm a boss babe.
I have
Yeah.
a suite.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why she's saying so many people are leaving the industry.
Yeah.
Because they didn't actually learn. It's like in this industry, you learn the most when you mentored under somebody.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like there's so much learned about customers. It's not just like, oh, I can cut and color. There's so much more than that.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't know customer service, how to like properly handle like, you know, something goes wrong, booking, clientele, deposit, marketing, all of that, it's like, this might be why it flopped.
Yeah. There's more to it than just the service. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's, and they don't, the thing is they don't teach that in cosmetology school either, you know? So you really and truly either need to come up through the ranks under a mentor. Okay. So assisting. And the other thing is that I think that in salons, so many times somebody just out of school, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to pay you $10 an hour and tips, and that's it, you know, and then you can come up through and you have to go to this style, you know, level and then this style level and whatnot. And it's just overwhelming for somebody who needs to survive.
Yeah.
So if they could even have like a fair wage, and a quick plan, because if it's someone like me, I'm going to look at the plan and be like, okay, I can do it this fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Through my training, I know I can do it. I did it, all the things in 15 days.
Wow.
Okay. The first step. And I give my artists 90 days to complete it because I know life.
Yeah.
Right. But I know I can do it in 15 days. I know you can do it in 15 days if you really wanted to and focus and get it done. And then you can just, you know, go from there, grow from there, you know. But I don't give you the whole thing right off the bat because number one, it's going to blow your hair back, right? You're like, I'm so overwhelmed, right? But if you take it in steps and it's doable, then that's fine. I think that needs to be in the salon too, because so many times I've seen people get so frustrated when they just got out of school and they're like, I can't survive, first of all, or that person just wants to keep them an assistant forever. And it's not fair. And so people get burnout and they're like, oh, you know, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
When you're just not matched with the right person, you know? So truly finding a mentor or planning on hiring a mentor that will save you all of that time, you know? So I think people need to be conditioned that way to like, okay, well, there's going to be another expense. If I want to be in my own business, I know I need to hire a mentor because I'm not going to get that at, you know, Sports Clips or wherever, you know, to get the experience. You do have to have experience as you grow too.
Yeah.
You can't just get out of school and be like, oh, I know all the things, right?
Yeah.
I watched YouTube. So, you know,
University.
you know, so it's like, I feel like if you prepare them at that level to have the right mindset and decide, okay, do I want to be a business owner? Am I interested in that? If you're not interested, not everybody's interested, then plan for that. I want to go work in a salon. Well, find a salon in the interview process and ask all the right questions to where it's very clear to where you can actually make a living and have a great life off of that, you know? So yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't Anyway, so is there anything that you want to close with? Anything that you want to promote or?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at self-promoting. Literally, I hang out with people and I'm like, hi, I'm Jeanette. And then people are like, why didn't you tell me you own a salon now? I'll just be like, I'm a stylist.
No.
I'm like so low-key. I never say,
Yeah.
oh, I own this. I'm a business owner. I don't know. I've just always been like, if they find out, they find out. I'm just this
Oh
low-key
my gosh,
person.
really?
Yeah, literally. I'm so low-key about
Oh my
it.
gosh. So you should not be. Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm just like, I really can't even answer why. I'm like, you must just be shouting it loud and proud.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I feel like everything that we put out on social media, kind of people know,
Yeah.
you know, so I don't want to, I'm never going to come in and like toot my own horn. You're like, oh, this is what I do, and I'm the bomb and all whatever, you know. Do people even say that anymore, the bomb? I don't
No.
know. Anyway, I'm going to date myself real quick. No, I think the more you put out, and it's kind of just the air that you carry too. Like, I know a friend of mine, he's like, you know, when Emily Olsen walks into the room, that's my old name, before I was married. Emily Olsen walks in the room, people understand, like, this girl's a boss.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even have to say anything. And I don't mean to give that air off. I was like, well, what makes you say that? I'm not mean or I didn't know.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's just how you carry yourself. And so how you posture yourself. And I think that has a lot to do with it, but you should definitely like talk about yourself, you know, and all of your accomplishments. You're doing a great job. You were nominated to come on. Like, people were like, this person needs to come on the podcast, you know?
Yeah.
So I think you have a lot to offer. I think you're doing things well. And with
thank
excellence.
you.
Yeah. From what I gathered and just talking with you, it's been a really great experience.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
I think I've just hit so many milestones in my career, and I'm just so about like growing behind the scenes, helping people grow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like really quickly, we're wrapping up, but one artist was like, we were talking about set work, and I was like, oh, I don't miss that. She's like, you used to work on set? I was like, yeah, girl. I'm like, I've worked with like MTV, HBO, like,
Yeah.
but it's like a lot of people don't know that part of my career.
Right.
It was like for New York Fashion Week, we were working with celebrities like Katie Holmes, girls from Fifth Harmony,
That's amazing.
singers like Nicole Scherzinger. You know,
Okay.
yeah, it's just like, I just don't talk about that part of my
Yeah,
career
but
anymore.
you should, because people are like,
I know.
what? Like, for real? That's amazing, because they love that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, one of the companies that I used to work with, I mean, there was like star power all around it, you know, like it was Motives by Lauren Reidinger, and she's actually best friends with J-Lo. And so she would pop in, Eva Longoria would pop in,
Wow.
like Fat Joe is, you know, at one of our conferences. He just walks into the room and you're like, okay, you know.
No biggie.
It's so cool. Kardashians, you know, so it's really cool, the people. And that's one thing I love about this business is that the people that you get to meet and you get to connect with, and the opportunities that you get that you normally probably wouldn't get anywhere else, you know, to be on set or to be on MTV or HBO or whatever. I mean, that's a phenomenal thing, and people dream of that, you know, so definitely talk about it, you know.
Now they know.
Now
That's
they know.
out there.
Now they know. But you should definitely talk more about it, because people are going to be like, oh man, you know, that's amazing. So it's a great story.
Oh, well, thank you. I think just my biggest takeaway is if anyone ever has questions about, you know, trying to grow, start a business, like I thrive off answering those and
Yeah.
helping people grow business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big deal, you know. And then I love the aspect that you're always looking for feedback, because that means you like communication and you like that feedback, and it's personable versus just, oh, I know everything and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big deal. So I feel like you've got a lot to offer, and you have a lot of experience, and I love your aspect of where you have the, you know, salon, the consistent services, and then you have your bridal, and you're juggling the two, you know, so that says a lot about how organized you are, because it takes a lot.
Oh, it does. For sure. Yeah.
And some people can't swing it. Some people, it's really hard for people, you know, especially in the artistic realm, you know, people sometimes they don't know how to be on time or how to, do the calendar invites or do contracts,
They can
so
nail a look, but just running a business isn't for them.
it's not
and that's
for them.
okay.
Yeah, but find your position, find your niche, and
Yeah.
be everything in that, but don't try to, yes, you can nail a look, but also try to run a business. Like, you can outsource that to other things, if you have that type of personality. But, yeah, but you're walking it, and thank you for coming.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.
And
This is great.
I've loved this, and until next time.
Until next time.